details, not in full, some detail of what the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayeni, had to share. He's described this one as a rumble in the jungle because the money per what it is that he's seeing is far in excess of Convo Dubois Haynes, which is currently in court. He calls this one rumble in the jungle. 78 million CDs in excess. Properties spread across the country, quite being honest. I'm talking about the buffer stock revelations as was made or laid bare yesterday, and the Office of the Attorney General as well, concluding investigations in quite a number of the many issues. We're going to listen into the Attorney General, and then when we return, I'll try and run you through some of the highlights of his presentation outside of what it is that we'll be hearing, because there are other investigations as well, which he provided details on. But here's the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayeni, yesterday making bare some of the details in relation to Hanan, who's a former boss of the buffer stock, and what Iyoko has found out.
The status, ladies and gentlemen, as far as the oral investigations are concerned, the status report is as follows. Out of the report of the oral committee submitted to my office, we instructed the National Intelligence Bureau in March 2025 to conduct investigations into cases of suspected acts of theft and graft by public officials and their allies in the private sector. The investigations were necessary because the oral committee reports did not contain the evidence required to prove the guilt of the suspects in court beyond reasonable doubt. It is always important to remember that the oral committee was tasked by His Excellency the President to receive complaints of looting of state resources, and complaints do not constitute irrefutable evidence of criminality. Oral reports are still coming into my office. Now, those who are pushing me to go to court and who are saying that by now convictions should have been obtained, I know you are Ghanaians, you have legitimate expectations of your government officials, including the President and the Attorney General. But we need to do a good job. Not that I will rush to court. Defense lawyers will come and raise objections, throw my case out, and then the same Ghanaians who wanted me to go to court expeditiously will now turn around and say that Ayeni is an incompetent Attorney General. I was never an incompetent lawyer in private practice. I don't want to be an incompetent lawyer in public sector. In the case of the latter, we have filed charges against the former Chief Executive, Executive Director, Osea Sibe-Ntwi, and his deputy, Gifty Owari. Charges are being prepared against the rest of the public officers and the so-called marketplace vendors. In all, we intend to file about 10 cases in the NSA scandal and will use some of the public officers and vendors as prosecution witnesses. Now, this is a strategy that is working very well for us, and we intend to continue to use that strategy. In a situation where there is a small criminal among big criminals, and the small criminal knows a lot, it is better as a matter of prosecutorial strategy to use a small criminal to get the information in order to be able to succeed, and that is what I'm doing. Also, I wish to announce that the Auditor General has conducted a forensic audit into the NSA, the National Service scandal, and the total amount of money stolen or illegally spent now stands at 2.2 billion. And not the 548 million that was uncovered by my investigators as at June 2025. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I have here a copy of the Auditor General's report. Again, painstaking investigation is very important in criminal matters. And so, based upon what the Auditor General has done, and this is a forensic audit, okay? Forensic audit means that they've gone beyond what ordinary, auditing would have done. And so, we are going to, based upon this, in some cases, change the charge, amend our charge sheet in order to bring fresh charges. Within the period between 2017 and 2024, Mr. Abdul Wahab, in concert with Richard Sam Asante and Bismarck Owusu-Boakye, orchestrated a transfer of 78,269,084 Ghana cedis and 4 pesos from the bank accounts of Buffer Stock Company to a private company linked to Hanan Abdul Wahab, his wife, and staff of Buffer Stock at Republic Bank and EcoBank. We have decided to charge Mr. Hanan Abdul Wahab and his wife, Faiza Seydou Wuni, with stealing, conspiracy to steal, causing financial loss to the state, using public office for profit, obtaining public property by false statements, and money laundering. We have frozen all the assets of Hanan that I have listed, including a 10 million Ghana cedis fixed deposit account at Republic Bank, Labone branch. That is the liquid assets. They also, had a lot of bags. I didn't want to list them. The wife has over 61 luxury bags. All right, name them. He himself was buying watches, some costing as much as 1.5 million Ghana cedis and so on. We have taken note of all of them, and so we've done the freezing, including those of the vehicle. Charges must be specific. If you miss the element of specificity, your case will be thrown out. And that is why I keep urging Ghanaians to be patient, because we need diligent investigation so that when I send a case to court, we don't have any doubt that criminality has occurred.
Is on 92.7.
So, ladies and gentlemen, prosecutions have commenced in the Sky Train and NASA service scandals.
You know the interesting thing, Marina? No. I sang this song in 2008 on TV3's Banter Live. Wana Money. That was the first time it had been played live anywhere in the world.
How many years ago is this?
2008. That's more than 10 years.
Yeah, so roughly, so we're looking
like
at
15 years.
15 thereabout, 15 years therebout.
And Sydney himself had not played it live before. He was in TV3 studios when I did Banter Live. So when people think that I just came around,
you've been there.
They don't know. But our age here, I think we need to call him into a meeting, into a room, talk to him. I think the talk is too much. It's too much.
Really?
Yes.
Despite the explanation he offered, that look,
he's explained to us before. You know, the first time he held the press conference and explained to us, Giftawari and some other persons who had been mentioned went on social media that if you care to know, she hasn't stolen anything. You remember that?
Yeah.
He's talking again. Charges have been preferred. Go to court.
But even in the Giftawari case, yesterday he held a forensic audit report by the Attorney General, which revealed rather that the amount believed to have been squandered,
right, is more than what was captured in there.
And so patience again is needed. Else they would have gone to court believing it was just 530 plus million cedis, when if they've as a matter of fact, they've taken their time,
right,
and they've realized that look, this is way more than
the people of the Republic of Ghana are not looking for explanations.
No, because there is a recover. All the promise is to recover.
No, you recover and jail. What the people of Ghana don't want to hear this plea bargain.
No, he's vowed that nobody.
But he came to us earlier. I mean, because he said if there are smaller criminals and bigger criminals, the smaller criminal, as he put it, has been left off the hook, and she's going to now be a witness,
helping prosecute the case. And
thief be thief.
No, but if the person can help you put the bigger person in, and it will so help in recovering the bigger loot as well. I think that's a strategy that works.
How much money did this smaller thief steal?
That I don't know, and we do not have details.
Is it more than goat and plantain?
I catch the drift.
You catch the drift
because they are
people have been kept in jail for stealing plantain because they are hungry.
Perhaps what we should be getting is extra detail from the AG. I don't think when he says smaller criminal, it will just be that they are being left off the hook. I'm sure there will be an arrangement, but where either they are returning something or in criminal prosecution,
or they are snitching.
That exactly, if you want to term it that, because it happens elsewhere.
Chalema when a thief be thief. This explanation will not work. Thief be thief.
Because others go in for lesser.
I'm saying thief be thief.
Right.
Yeah. Matter close. Thief be thief. If you're a thief, you're a thief. You're a thief.
But to help prosecute the case, and I mean, I in no way intend to be the spokesperson of the Attorney General.
You cannot be.
Yes. But I'm just seeking to perhaps allow.
The people of the Republic of Ghana are looking for scorecard. Show working. You have spoken too much. Take the people to court. Put them in the box. Ask them questions. If they are guilty, you find them guilty, or the court helps to find them guilty. If they are not guilty, let them off the hook. There's every now and then press conference, 1 hour, 2 hours press conference. Boss, we tire. I'm telling you.
But I'm a supporter of the press conferences. Actually,
I am not against the press conferences to let us know what is going on, but you can't be repeating the same old stories.
Updates on the investigations.
Do you remember fellow Ghanaians?
Updates.
Do you remember fellow Ghanaians?
Yes.
COVID.
Yes.
Do you know what that was used to do?
Oh, we were all in this country.
Electricity bills, water bills,
we're all
free
in this
water.
Country. And this one, when we say we're all in this country, we speak based on facts.
And when we finished, did we not pay for the water and electricity?
As conveyed by the
Did we not pay for the water and electricity?
We did.
Stop talking. Show us scorecard. That's all I'm saying. I'm speaking the mind of Ghanaians, a large majority of Ghanaians. And Abolo will say, apply common sense. Show working. That's all.
So the talk there.
We don't want the talk. If you insist that people have stolen, and you say that people have taken what they should not be taking, put them before the court. Put them in the box. Ask them questions. How is that hard? I'm not a lawyer, but you are a doctor of laws. How is that difficult? Put them there and ask them questions.
But our legal system as well, it takes quite a while. The wheels of justice grind slowly, but in Ghana it grinds extra slowly.
We are not complaining. Have you put them in the box?
They are in court. So for in the instances of Gift Yowari, they are in court, so they are going to amend the charges.
And the person said, "I'm sick."
Abdul Wahab is expected to be charged.
But the lady says I'm sick.
Oh, she's been granted. She's actually been granted bail. He provided that update as well. A bail in the sum of around 10 million cedis.
How long has Ken Oferiatta been ill?
He's not in the jurisdiction.
But how long has he been ill?
Based on what we've seen from the lawyers, quite some time.
Play music. This devil's advocate job that you are doing.
No. I'm not seeking to be a devil's advocate because it serves all of us our interests and our good.
Fantastic.
No, I have to make that point very clear. That
Fantastic.
It serves the interest and the good of the Ghanaian people if the fear of the Lord is put in our politicians such that they do not go and engage in activities. Because, like I was saying this morning,
look at the amount of money.
And go on to Facebook and as well as on YouTube where we're streaming, because we've sought to help as well break down the number. Because yesterday the AG was running through the numbers with quite some speed, and so you might not be able to grasp the full picture.
So who owns Sortina? Sortina Enterprise to Chain Homes Ghana Limited.
He owns. I think the ownership is himself and the wife.
Sortina Enterprise to Hausa Ventures 500,000 Ghana cedis. Sortina Enterprise to Al Karini Enterprise 23 million.
23 million.
Hey.
And then Sortina to. This one was his personal bank account per what
to
it is
Hanan
that
Abdul Wahab 16 million plus
in excess. 16.1 million.
5-bedroom house at Chain Homes $1.6 million. 3-bedroom house at Cantonments 600,000. Plots of land at Airport Development
$750,000.
17-bedroom boutique hotel at Gumani in Tamale
$250,000.
La.
And there's more actually. 4-bedroom bungalow at Jolu. That's 4.1 million cedis. And then purchase a 0.32 acre government land at 2.5 million.
And the salary was what, 28,000?
Yeah. It was under 28,000 Ghana cedis salary.
I'm cool me down.
It's to prick the conscience of the people.
I'm cool me down.
Sunrise.
This to be preferred against Hanan and his wife a lot later includes stealing, conspiracy to steal, willfully causing financial loss to the state, using public office for profit. And that's a lot more in terms of the details. We'll get into the phone lines pretty shortly and engage quite a number of persons as well, legal experts on these charges. Also, they are expected to be slapped with obtaining public property by false statements and money laundering. we've had to walk you through this morning, but most certainly we'll get a bit more in terms of expert opinion as well. We're joined on the phone lines right now by Engineer Theophilus Kojo Jimega Jr., also a private legal practitioner as well, on these revelations, which has just come through from the Office of the Attorney General. Engineer Counsel, good morning to you. I trust that you are well.
Good morning, I'm fine. How are you too?
By the grace of God, we're alive.
And a very good morning to your listeners.
Right. I doubt a lot of them will be fine based off on the details as was captured in the Attorney General's press conference yesterday. But for you in the NDC, who have touted greatly the work that Oral is expected to do and these details, the argument is still that the AG is still talking. He should be in court by now with a lot more of these findings instead of addressing us in a press conference.
Good morning again, Marina. What do they really want the AG to do? AG has told you he has copies of the charge sheets. The last time we spoke, I told you that once the legal vacation is over, we are going to see a flurry of cases in court. Of course, we have seen 2 already. And yesterday, the AG even told us that a review of the scandal is about 2.2 billion Ghana cedis. And he has given us an item of a number of them done yesterday. He has finished with the Sky Train. He has finished with National Lotteries. He has finished with SML. He has finished with the buffer stock and a host of others. What do they want to do? They want AG to just rush to court and the case gets thrown out, and the people plead that they have been tried already or they have been brought to court already. No, that's not what the AG wants. The AG wants to do a meticulous job.
A meticulous job, but he himself tells us that he's concluded investigations. So it's not like the people are asking that he goes to court without concluding investigations. He's concluded investigations, and so he should be in court if he's concluded investigation. That's his own words being used against him at this point.
Yes, when you conclude investigation, you must know that you need to have allocation of resources to prosecute the case. You don't want to burden one person with so many cases that the prosecutor will not have the opportunity to go through the cases. Remember, these cases appear a bit political. You don't want your opponents to score cheap political points just by the fact that you missed a step. That is not what we want. Let us do the job cleanly. Look, the AG has 4 years to execute mandate. It's less than even 1 year. Why the rush? The AG, there's nobody in NDC who is not aware that Oral, if we don't execute it properly, will be our undoing. They're all aware. We have a situation where a former Minister for Foreign Affairs was brought to court. The case was thrown out. We had a Ghana 50. The case was thrown out. They want a repeat of that? No. We want to do things differently. And that is exactly what the AG is doing at the moment. So all I can ask everybody who is not satisfied yet with what the AG has achieved in the history of prosecution, you know that AG has almost finished their side of the case against Eduwahin. It doesn't happen that way. It's so fast. They have finished calling all their witnesses. So what else do we want?
Well, the concern is the wheels of justice grinding slowly. It grinds ever even more slowly here in the country. And there's the fear that with the defense counsel as well on every side not wanting to see their clients go behind bars, there could be impediment put in the way until possibly a fresh government returns or a new party assumes the reins of governance, and then these cases are eventually discontinued amongst many other things. And so, yes, the AG says he's trying to be meticulous. He's not trying to. He's being meticulous in all of the dealings, but there's a sense of urgency that must be attached because of the legal system which we operate. And I believe you may have heard as well, a former Auditor General and a critical member of the Oral team, Daniel Domelevo, raised these concerns as well.
Yes, I've heard about Daniel Domelevo's concern, and I am aware that the AG called him and told him the progress that was being made. He was talking from the point of the fact that we have given you this. What are you waiting for? Called him to explain to him that I've just received the investigative report on ABC. So we are proceeding along that line. So the fears of Domelevo, if you notice, since that time, he's not uttered a word again on the pace of work at the AG. So there had been a bit of an understanding from that side. Now, the idea that defense counsel are going to put impediments in the way of prosecution, such that prosecution would not be able to do their work, and there will be a new government and the cases will have to be terminated. It's not going to happen because our people have learned their lessons very, very well. And we are working so hard not to get a repeat of what happened under MPP.
And by mention of the courts as well, you in the NDC have mooted the idea of tribunals. In fact, the AG at the last time of his press engagement suggested that this was going to return amongst many other things. Are we in need of special courts to handle these matters, cases involving oral, as we saw under the fast-track division which was introduced by President Kufuor? Is there a need for a similar of such things to handle these matters?
No, there's no need yet. I think what the AG is telling us that there's the need to get more personnel to prosecute these cases. And that is what the AG is working at, getting more personnel to be available to prosecute these cases. But the courts should be able to handle all that is happening at the moment. The special courts, my understanding, are for the issues that the president has discussed with the AG and the acting chief justice and the auditor general. Then there's also the need for the special court for the Galamsey-related issues. But the normal crimes vis-a-vis stealing, causing financial loss to the state, etc., we have enough courts to deal with that. It's only a matter of human resources that should be available to deal with it. That is all.
And by human resources, we're looking for more and more persons to join the Office of the Attorney General in prosecuting these cases. If people are interested, because I've seen activists like Oliver Baka-Voma moots the idea that, look, should he join the Office of the Attorney General's counsels to prosecute these matters in court and the like? Is it the case that government is opening its arms to lawyers and asking that, look, we're in need of persons to prosecute the bevy or the array of cases we're lining up against persons we believe have looted? Join us in the courts in helping retrieve these sums and prosecuting these individuals. Is that the position of the government and the Attorney General's office at this point in time?
Well, the position of the Attorney General, remember, there have been very good prosecutors who are on retirement. There are very good prosecutors who have led the AG and are doing private practice, and all these could be brought in and roped in to do the work for the Attorney General. So it is not a matter of the personnel are not available to be found. There are so many personnel available to be found. So the position of the AG is, yes, there's a huge workload, but let us get the right people. You see, you don't want to get anybody in there, then they will also be compromised. Then your idea of getting people in there becomes useless. So the position of the AG is, look, let's get the people in, let's get the right caliber of people who will help us to prosecute the cases and prosecute them properly without being compromised and without us having shoddy work done so that somebody will walk away without us having success. That's the position of the AG.
And how are we getting these individuals? Are we seeking to have the retired prosecutors return? Because Ghanaians are interested.
Yes. The last engagement the AG had with lawyers, which I was part of, my understanding then was that the AG has already initiated processes for recruiting new ones and for bringing old ones on contract for this work to be done. I think that all we can pray for and ask Ghanaians at this moment is a bit of patience so that the work will be done by the AG and we will all see the outcome of what the AG is doing.
But let's return to the subject or the idea of the press conference and the commentary yesterday as well. We had the Attorney General use words like criminal, small criminal, to help prosecute a bigger criminal. He's a Minister of Justice as well. There's a concern that persons must be presumed innocent until proven guilty. These descriptive words, as used by the Attorney General, is constituting guilt on these persons even before he files charges.
No, the truth of the matter is the Attorney General is not the bastion of the one to convict. The Attorney General has made a pronouncement. All over the world, we hear words like criminal enterprise. All over the world, you hear words like terrorists. Does it mean that they are just terrorists? Does it mean they have been convicted as terrorists? No. But all over the world, you hear these words. And these words are used by the persons who prosecute them. So in the usage of this, I don't think that should be anything. Indeed, I am of the opinion that once even a case is mentioned, that case can be discussed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that the discussion of any case will influence the judge, that the judge doesn't know the work he or she is supposed to do. Doesn't mean that the judge won't know. The judge is supposed to know. So for me, no matter the description given, you have your day in court. Remember, one of the guys also took to the Facebook yesterday and started defending himself publicly. So everybody has the platform to go and defend themselves publicly. So I don't think the words the AG is using. Let us not focus on the nomenclature. Or let's not focus on using words. Let's focus on the substance of what is happening. I hope you saw on certain platforms that for MPP, criminal enterprise is like a sexually transmitted disease, husband and wife, because we have seen several husbands or at least two husbands and wives involved being charged already on alleged crimes. We have seen all those things. Should it mean that should influence so much the judge? Yes. All judges live in the communities we face. They see what goes on. That is why when there's a spate of armed robbery and you are convicted, you are given a hefty sentence to serve as a deterrent. But that does not delegate from the judge the duty to do what is right and how to apply the law and get proper conviction and fairness to everybody. So for the AG using words like criminal, etc., etc., I think it's just a description of what has happened. Indeed, the AG cannot use words like this is a football or a sports issue. No. He can only use words like criminal because that is the arena where the issue is happening. So for me, I think that let us focus on the substance. Have you looked at the alleged amount that is involved? Come on, we were looking for 10 billion from China. We couldn't get. And here we are spending or we are looking for more than 10 billion. My brother, look at the ADB stroke national service situation. 30 million Ghana cedis passed through banks, transfer left, right, and center. What is the duty of the bank then? Does it mean that the bank doesn't have safeguards to even watch how those monies are transferred? These are questions even I believe that the media should be asking beyond the Attorney General. Go and ask questions beyond even the alleged suspects. Go and ask questions to the institutions involved. How can ADB They don't obey Financial Clearance Act. They don't obey Money Laundering Act. They don't obey Financial Services Act, Bank of Ghana Act. Why? How come 30 million? Let's just speak 30 million. ADB didn't generate the alleged ghost names. Fair enough. ADB didn't generate the hire purchase scheme. Fair enough. But ADB opened the door. Somebody in ADB opened the door. Somebody held the door. The monies were transferred. Without ADB making a comment, we should be going after things like that and asking those who were in charge then should also be roped in. Sorry, I'm being emotional. Because I look at the amount that is involved and it is mind-boggling. If we have so much money here, we shouldn't be going to IMF.
Right. Right. I understand the emotions because there's been a lot of emotion in different WhatsApp groups that I am in on social media platforms, amongst many other things. But you touch at the heart and the core of what these revelations have brought forward. Beyond the stated figures and who possibly is believed to have been behind it or have benefited from it, are institutions of state which should be playing roles and be supervising and ensuring that a number of these transactions are flagged. We have not seen any of these institutions mentioned in all of this work that's been done by the Attorney General and IOCO, for starters, where do they come in terms of the reform and the research that your government has promised the good people of Ghana, such that we will not be having persons within your government doing the same thing, and yet the FIC, Financial Intelligence Center, will not bat an eye. The banks will continue to allow these huge sums of money flow through. The investigative bodies, IOCO and the likes, will allow these monies go through. And we will only find out when a new government or a new party assumes the reins of power.
Yes, the last time I was in your studio, I made mention of the fact that the NDC government appears to be boring in that we don't have a lot of scandals. So either they are doing it very well or they are covering it very well. But I want to go to the former to say they are doing it, they are working very well. They are doing all their work very well and mirroring the image of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Now, the idea about going after the institutions, I pray that when the day comes and that those servants, public servants, civil servants in those institutions are being taken out one by one, the media will not join the others to say that because they were MPP appointees, they are being hounded out of office. My understanding from the Attorney General is that he's going after the first tranche of people. When that is done, behind this tranche of guys that they are going after, they are following up with the various institutions. And when that is done, and we see the massive rot that has engulfed the whole civil service or the public service we have in the country, I pray that the media will join us to say that these guys have also done wrong. Because indeed, I just can't get it. I am struggling, or I struggled since last night after the AG's presser to ask to gather why these institutions have been so quiet. Were they complicit? Did they just open the door? Somebody held the door and somebody walked in, somebody held the door, somebody picked the things? No, it is not the best that we want at this stage.
Not the best, but in terms of the reforms of the institution, that's the second leg of my question. What are we doing in terms of FIC?
That is why if you notice the work that Professor Pesa White is doing now is more vigorous and intense than what was being done previously. So Professor Pesa White has given ultimatum to the various institutions under him, and all they are trying to do is that everybody is supposed to submit their annual reports and monthly reports, and they are following up on anything that is flagged up is immediately picked, so that we don't get to 4 years or 8 years, then these things are brought to the fore. No, we don't want to wait for that.
And so what? These institutions are submitting reports, and that is enough?
They are following up. Yes, SIGA is following up on their core mandates and doing literally audit on everything that they are doing, so that when there is something flagged up, you are likely to be taken on immediately. So we don't wait for 4 years before somebody picks up what is any rot or alleged rot that might come up out of the institution.
Right. And for an institution like the FIC, which sits and it's the FIC has been helping under this administration in freezing accounts amongst many other things, because a number of former government appointees' accounts were frozen and the likes. What's their mandate in helping the government to flag and check a number of these? And I don't just mention the FIC, I mention other investigative bodies as well, because they must come to the fore in helping government to track and trace and stop some of these diversions of huge sums of monies.
Yeah, recently, if you would have noticed, maybe you might have seen it on a platform. I've seen a picture of Dr. Sremsai,
Ramonacha, and then the AG himself.
And the AG himself and the rest. And I've seen another picture that involves also Kojochum Baffoe, all having discussion. Both IOCO and FIC are collaborating very well in terms of some of this work that is being done. And some of the things I'm telling you have been discussed widely on some of the platforms that I share with the FIC boss. And they want to make sure that persons who are involved in some of these things are brought to book. But you see, we are in early days yet. They don't want to throw all their cards out there for everybody to see what is being done, so that people who are still at their various workplaces will begin to cover their tracks. So give us a bit of time, things will begin to come out for all of us to see.
A bit of time and things will begin to unravel itself. And we're still live here on 3FM 92.7. We're talking the details as made bare by the Attorney General on Abdul Wahab Hanan yesterday in reference to oral and the work that is being undertaken by the Office of the Attorney General. A number of investigations as well have been concluded, all expected to be in the courts, and soon enough, from per what the Attorney General tells us, all of these other issues will head to court. And so the expectation, Mr. Jimaga, is that by the close of this week, in the case of the buffer stock, that will be formally put before the courts. That's the expectation.
Yes, that the AG informed us that it's likely to be filed today. So definitely before the weekends, we are likely to see the buffer stock guys have their day in court and defend themselves. And when that happens, I think we'll all be happy to see that everybody will have an equal playing field, so that they will all have the opportunity to defend themselves in court.
Right. We'll move on to another subject matter.
Mawina, I will have less than 3 minutes with you. Courts are about to start.
Oh, right. You're
yes.
in court. You're in court for us.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right.
Yes.
So let's just wrap it up then. Since you're in court, I'll have to let you go. I appreciate you joining us this morning. That's Theophilus Jimaga, is a private legal practitioner and a member of the NDC's communication team as well. I was hoping I could pick his thoughts on some of the other matters we have tabled, because we'll be in Parliament as well on quite a number of the respective issues which have come up, whether or not the Anti-LGBTQ plus bill must go through the entire process again for passage, or it was passed, hence it has to only be taken to the presidency for assent. That's come up in terms of the discussion in the legislature. But for the last hour or so, what has dominated our conversations is the findings by the Attorney General in relation to activities of buffer stock and many other things. And we will get in terms of a lot more perspective for you, legal opinions, what is expected to happen from the Office of the Attorney General, as well as the expectation from others. But Austin Bracco-Powers has joined us. He's a private legal practitioner as well. He's joined us this morning for a conversation. Mr. Bracco-Powers, as always, I appreciate you joining us this morning.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, I can hear you. I trust that all is well with you as well. We're doing well too. Yesterday we got word of a lot more in terms of the details which the Attorney General has in relation to investigations in other cases, but more importantly, what he described as a rumble in the jungle style. I want to start off the conversation with you on the press conferences, because I know your position on that. I've just got off the phone with Mr. Jimaga, where I asked him about the use of the words criminal and the likes, and whether or not it does not prejudice these individuals or declare them guilty in the eyes of the public. Where do you stand on this? Because I know you've been raising concerns about the press conference style of the AG.
Let me say good morning to your listeners and those watching the show on social media and YouTube. I think my position on this style of the Attorney General is well known. I think the Attorney General is always drawing his conclusion, and it is very bad. I mean, when you get a leader of the bar make comments that that indicate that someone that they accuse or a suspect has indeed committed an offense, it is disappointing and disheartening, because this is somebody who is supposed to uphold the law, and the same person is convicting somebody in the media when the court has not had opportunity to determine and even look at the very fact that Attorney General claim they have uncovered out of their investigation. But I think the president may have to rein in on the Attorney General, because you see, it is one thing trying to feed off the expectation of your grassroots, and another thing trying to defend the law. He's supposed to be on the side of the law, not on the side of the grassroots. When that happens, he's doing more politics than doing the law, and I think it is disappointing. I expect the Attorney General to be professional, because irrespective of the appointer, whoever appointed you, you must uphold the law and let the people. And I'm saying it. You see, when you create or paint the picture that someone is criminal, when you have not even arraigned the person before a court of competent jurisdiction, what if you end up not even getting what you want? Your grassroots will be more disappointed than they are currently. I think the government should not cower under the pressure that is coming from their grassroots. Fine, we are all saying that ORA must work, but ORA must work in view of the position of the law, not in the light of politics and partisan politics. I think the Attorney General will have to exercise some level of patience, and I have also said that he must manage the expectation of Ghanaians. When you tell them that this is a major uncovering that you have done since you came into the office, it means that you are telling the people that with this you can secure conviction. I think for me, I want him to manage people's expectations, because the disappointment may be great, and already you have not even with all the cases that he has placed before court, he's not even in the middle of those cases. So those judicial commentaries in the media will not help him. He has to exercise and manage the expectation of the people, so that at least Ghanaians, when you are not able to secure conviction, Ghanaians will know that at least you have done your best, but not to tell them to feed off the line, and later you end up having eggs and getting disappointed. I think the Attorney General must and the president must rein in on the Attorney General. He's overdoing it.
But Mr. Rako-Powers, you've seen the details of the investigative report. You've seen the sums of money, and I don't say this to seek to prejudice anything, but if you were in the position of the Attorney General, having done painstaking investigation, and there's financial traces of all of these expenditures and what it was used for, amongst many other things, wouldn't you be confident going to court and hoping that with all of the evidence you've gathered, you can secure a conviction?
Mawena, you can be confident. Sometimes, your evidence may give you confidence, but that very evidence will have to be determined or sanctioned by the court. Don't forget, the fact that you have evidence doesn't mean that the court will accept it. In our jurisprudence, there's a means of accepting evidence. If the evidence is relevant, that is a major test. If the evidence is relevant and the court deems it fit to admit those evidence, the court will do that. But what if you've chance on documents and they are not credible, and maybe the means of securing those documents are not proper before the law? Then those documents have not yet been admitted by the court. So for you can have confidence. Fine, you can have confidence in those documents. Cautious, you must be cautious, because having the document before you and feeling that the document can to grant your case doesn't mean that those documents have been admitted by the court. That will be a threshold that you have to satisfy in court. So as much as I agree that the Attorney General must be able to inject some level of confidence, he must have some level of confidence in his own investigation. He must also be cautious, because you are in the public. You are not before the court. It is the court that will determine the final outcome. So manage expectations. However, it is very simple. If there's any message I will give to the Attorney General, it is people's expectation. He's overdoing it. He's pumping up people's confidence, telling them that it's going to be secure. But it's not going to be an easy walk in the park. This is not a walk in the park by two lovers, a man and a woman who are holding each other's hand, and they are doing whatever they are supposed to do. This is not a walk in the park. Being in court is another ball game altogether. Another party will also fight back. So you must manage people's expectations, so that when there is disappointment, they will not blame you. But when you raise them to the rooftop and they fall flat, that is where the blame game will start. So for me, He's overdoing it, and the president will have to rein in on him. Tell him to be careful. That's it. The public must know.
Right.
Feed the public what they are supposed to know, and don't give them too much hope. That's what with this we will secure foundation. With this we secure foundation. It will not be an easy walk to freedom. In fact, I said it was not an easy walk to freedom, but this one, it will not be an easy walk over. It cannot
and the fact that you say it will not be an easy walkover is one of the many things that constitutes concern for the generality of the Ghanaian populace as to how long it takes these criminal trials or criminal cases in our courts, and sometimes it doesn't allow for swift adjudication of these matters. There are those who say that you as lawyers, when somebody is accused of doing something and the defense counsels come in, then you will do all that you can, and in a very political conversation like the one that we're having, all will be done to seek to slow the progress or slow the wheel of justice until power can change hands, and then people can be let off the hook as well. That is a concern that exists. What would be your expectation as more pressure is brought to bear on the Attorney General to expedite these cases quickly?
Well, that's simple. The thing is that, this antics is adopted by everyone. In fact, if you are in a matter, sometimes you have to. And it's not really a matter of trying to delay the process, but it's also a matter of trying to ensure due process is adhered to. So often than not, it will grind too slow. But be that it may, the Attorney General or strictly, the Chief Justice has the power to direct that prosecution must be done sometimes within a period of 1 year or 6 months. The Attorney General and even the judge that is just his ability to say that I'm setting, this is the timeline we are setting for ourselves to complete the matter. So the judge can determine the timelines with the parties, and they can adhere to that. But, sometimes you may determine the timelines, and there may be interlocutory applications you may have to file here, left, right, center. Those ones, if you have done as your counsel, just is to make sure that you are not fussy or wrongly. So whatever it takes for me to do it, I'll do it to make sure that the due process is followed. Your right is accepted in court, and you are given the opportunity to speak. So I think it must be a collaborative effort between the court and the parties before the court, so that they can arrive at just a timeless expedition, disposal of the case. Those ones, I think the public has the public. I mean, Ghanaians have genuine concern when they say, sometimes the process.
It takes quite a while in the court.
But the thing is that sometimes when you want the right thing, it takes time. In fact, when you want the right thing, it takes time. So Ghanaians should bear with that. But I mean, there are cases that have been disposed of within a matter of 6 months, 1 year. The others are dragged on simply because the lawyers want to insist on the right thing, and want to make sure that their clients are properly heard and properly given an opportunity or facility, as the law says. They are given the proper facility to advance their case before the court. So, as much as Ghanaians have a genuine case, I think they should also bear with the system, because that's how the process is. Because in fact, you will not want your innocent client to be convicted.
Absolutely, and I was going to provide that caveat that despite asking these questions about timely adjudication of these matters, we don't say this with prejudice that anybody who's just been accused should just be thrown behind. Should just be thrown behind bars. But we're just trying to weigh the balance of public expectation, public demand, general public good, as well as affording people their rights as well, in terms of their rights to a counsel and to defend themselves from all of the allegations that's put against them. I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for a quick break. We've also been joined on the line by private legal practitioner Christian Malmhesi. When we return from that break, we're going into Parliament because the House says that despite the former CJ's application to the High Court, praying, amongst many other things, a review of the work done by the Article 146 committee, and asking that Parliament be injuncted from vetting and the subsequent swearing of a new Chief Justice. The Speaker says he's referred the nomination to Parliament Appointment Committee, and the expectation is that they should proceed with the work. I'll come back and then pick the thoughts of the both of you on this matter, but we'll do that right after this break.
My first years in university were very difficult for me. I struggled with acne like so many of my friends. When I started using Forever Clear Blemish Control, we all noticed the difference. It was like a light bulb went off. My skin was clearing up, and with it, my confidence soared. I never knew how much a product could change someone's life until I watched my face go through this transformation. I came back from vacation totally radiant.
Past the hour, 9 here on the 3FM Sunrise. Let's get back into our big conversations this morning. And I mentioned that I've been joined, just before we went on that break, we've been joined by private legal practitioner as well, Christian Malmhesi, as well as Austin Braco Powers, all on the phone lines with us as we get into part 2 of our big conversations, this time centering on the Speaker and Parliament's decision to proceed with the vetting of Baffoe-Bonnie, Paul Baffoe-Bonnie, who is the acting Chief Justice who was nominated by the President to assume substantively the position of Chief Justice in the face of a suit as filed by the former Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. Let me start off with Christian Malmhesi. Counsel, I don't know if you heard the Speaker, but he referred the nomination to the Appointment Committee. Did he do so because the court has not sat to consider the suit or the application as filed by the former Chief Justice. Hence, the legislature has not been served, or it's a case of Parliament being a master of its own rules, its books being closed, and so it's proceeding with its work.
Yes, good morning to you, Marina, and to Austin and listeners alike. Indeed, it is strike law that when a constitutional body is carrying out with its work, that body, it is just not enough that an injunctive application is filed, but the court must hear it and, given the merits of it, would injunct that particular constitutional body. It is just not enough, as with the general rule where an injunction application is filed, which would mean that once the court is sub judice, as in the jurisdiction of the court has been invoked, that to an extent injuncts the person from acting until the matter is heard, and then whatever the merits of it is determined thereof, the parties would have their rights considered. But in this case, once it's a constitutional body, they have the right to continue with it unless the court has heard the matter and, like I said, determined that indeed Parliament should hold on for determination of the matter, and then they would proceed with the vetting. I understand the frustration that has visited her leadership, but unfortunately, this is the law, so there's little one can do about it.
And for you, because it's not been heard, Parliament as a constitutional body can proceed with its work. But we know that the minority, for instance, have raised quite the concern, and they've been making that made very vociferously about the processes under which the former CJ went, and her removal, a subsequent removal as issued by the president's warrant, removing her from the position of Chief Justice and a member of the bench. They cannot use this new application as a basis to want to sit out the vetting of Paul Baffoe-Bonnie because a court hasn't sat to hear it.
Yes, I mean, the reasons, the points mentioned by them, they are mostly, or all of them are contained in her leadership's application before the High Court. And indeed, the court will determine that particular application, whether it has merit or not. I mean, this as it hinges on Article 1468 and all of that. And I mean, whether her rights were fractioned against and all of that. And that's the most important thing. But the point you made that, yes, in as much as she's brought the matter before the High Court, the minority indeed, they can only vent blight of what they consider as their grievances. But I mean, any real action by them should follow the law, or they should go to court. But I mean, less of it will merely be statements or dissenting opinion from their caucus, and that would be it. It would in no way, I don't see how it's going to affect the verdict, because the majority lies with NDC, and definitely with politics, majority would prevail. But I don't foresee the nominee Chief Justice having any problem, unless the application is served on Parliament, and same is heard and determined to injunct Parliament from acting further. Parliament will go ahead to do what it's supposed to do.
I'll come to you again on the former CJ, where she stands in all of this, having filed the application and the House seeking to make progress, what her remedies possibly could be. But let me bring in Austin as well into the conversation on the same question as to whether or not he has a different opinion, because once the application has been filed for quite a while, we as young persons who are seeking to learn and understand the law knew that once somebody files an injunction, it almost presupposes that you stay the course of action until the courts can determine it.
But I think my learned brother has espoused what the position of the law is. In fact, the injunction body, particularly in another arm of government, it's really a circumscribed process, because you cannot say you are injuncting them when they are set to do their work. So the law is, there are exceptional situations, but the position of the law is that if you injunct a constitution, particularly another arm of government, and same is upheld, that will cause, in fact, it will cause a meltdown, because it means that you are bringing the activities to a standstill. So unless you're able to prove an exceptional situation, the basis of which the court must uphold it. And the position of the law is that the way we understand it, as it operates on individuals, that is private individuals, where the mere service of an application for injunction serves or stops the person from committing a particular carrying out a particular act. It does not operate, that same principle does not operate when it comes to constitutional bodies and arms of that merely serving an injunction application does not stop a constitutional body or arm of government carrying out its work, unless the court has clearly pronounced on things. So in this case, until the court makes that determination and make an order or grant the injunction application, it does not operate to stop Parliament from going ahead into it.
But isn't this confusion coming about because of what we witnessed in the anti-LGBT case, where a number of court processes were filed, and the Parliament's hand was essentially stayed for close to a year, and then the Supreme Court subsequently said the cases were dismissed, amongst many other things. That has created in the minds of some persons the fact that the courts can possibly stay the hand of Parliament in being able to proceed on a course of action.
However, we must hesitate in drawing power conclusions. They are not the same. In fact, I can advance that it will be in the best interest for Parliament to stay its hand so long as the case is before the court. But that will be an advocacy. But the position of the law is different. So if I had my own way, Parliament should not even act on the nomination of the acting Chief Justice. Why? Because of the pending application. But the position of the law is that Parliament must still go on, because Parliament is the master of its own. So, and we must do a part of it. With the LGBTQ bill, the president decided, the executive decided that they were not going to, the president decided that he was not going to assent to the bill, mainly because there are matters before the court. That was his decision. Parliament's hand was stayed because the president was supposed to, if the president was not assenting to the bill, he was supposed to communicate to Parliament within 14 days. And since there was no communication to Parliament that I'm not going to assent to the bill, Parliament could not have, triggered the emergency process, because if the president refused to send to the bill, he was supposed to communicate to Parliament within 14 days. The basis of which Parliament will now consider whether there are some amendments to be made, and if so, then the Parliament will send the bill back to the president, and the bill has to be passed by two-thirds majority. And if it is done, the president has no option than to assent to the bill. These matters are circumscribed in the law. So, but in the LGBTQ, in the gay bill issue, The president did not communicate to the parliament that I was not going to assent because of the bill has issues. But he said he's not going to act on the bill because of the pending matters in court. Those ones, in fact, I would have also advocated that the current parliament should do the same. But that would be advocacy. And that is different from what the position of the law is. So I agree people are entitled to drop those conclusions. But these are not the same matters. These are different circumstances altogether. And when you look at it, if you compare them, you draw a you come up, you end up drawing a conclusion because they are not the same.
Right, not the same. Council Malm, what it is that Parliament is intending to do, and I'm returning to you on the matter in relation to what remedies possibly could lie for the former Chief Justice. She's filed her application. The legislative arm says we're proceeding nonetheless. Is there a course of action she can take in her attempt to stay the hand of the legislature and prevents the vetting and subsequent swearing in of the CJ nominee?
The only way possible is...
I'll come to you, Mr. Baffoe-Powers, on the same subject matter.
The only way possible I foresee is an injunction. And even with that, it must be heard timeously because there's no time. She doesn't have the luxury of time on her hands. And that is the only way possible because like I said, the jurisprudence that surrounds that relates to injunction applications, the only exception deals with constitutional bodies when they are served. So if indeed you want to halt Parliament in its tracks from proceeding with the vetting, then Parliament must be served with it. Parliament, when served, the matter must be heard timeously. Because the service is not enough, but the determination of the application is what it is. Because at the consideration of the application, when it's served, the court would contend itself with the right of the Chief Justice, who will suffer irreparable damage, the balance of inconvenience, and all of that. And you realize that should the vetting go on and the Chief Justice nominee is confirmed, and in a theoretical situation or analysis, her leadership justice also wins, she comes out victorious with her application. It means that we are possibly going to have two parallel Chief Justices that will be in the fore, and that is going to create a constitutional problem. So it is everything because she has fought all this while. It's everything for a timeless application to be determined so that Parliament will not proceed, because we will not. We are not prepared to know the outcome of her application
Absolutely.
At the High Court. And so this is what I have to say on this.
And you as well. What she's going to file for an abridgment of time, Mr. Baffoe-Powers, so that this can be heard. Well, it does appear Mr. Baffoe-Powers is not with us on the phone lines yet, but perhaps I'll put that question to you.
Yes. The abridgment of time, would help the matter, especially as the Parliament is about vetting him. That's the only option she could exercise. Anything less of it, Parliament would go on, and once the horse is out of the stable, it will be quite difficult to hold it to stand. So we only wait to see how the outcome would be.
And you have been on record. I recall somewhere last week we had this conversation quite extensively as to her decision to go to court again, and you saying that, look, it is within her right, and once somebody feels aggrieved that her rights have been violated, she proceeds to the High Court and seek that be corrected, amongst many other things. With how things continue to play out, do you still hold that position, and considering all things being equal, Parliament wanting to proceed with the vetting?
Yes, I mean, I still hold that position, that view, because what is happening to her leadership, it is unique in our democratic dispensation. I mean, we had the Ghana Bar Association with Attorney General, which is popularly called the Aban case, where Justice Aban, I mean, there was an attempt to get him out and all of that. But, you know, with the myriad of angles relating to her leadership and all of this, it is going to help with our constitutional law development. Just as, because as lawyers in practice, we always refer to precedent, and judges as well, because when they are giving their decisions, they are delivering their decisions, they always refer to case law, because that is how structured our legal system is. So this would add up to our constitutional development in terms of matters that relate to the removal of Chief Justice under Article 146. I mean, it would further strengthen the position, whether or not Article 146 has flaws, which has become very evident. We all agree to an extent that Article 146 procedurally lags behind, and any legal system cannot exist as that. And I mean, over the months, I've been hard with jurisprudential analysis on Article 146 and the need to have it amended. And indeed, the leader of government at Parliament found wisdom in suggestions made, I mean, across board, that Article 146 needs to be looked at. So he mentioned on the floor of Parliament that he would come up with, or government would come up with a regulation.
That's a constitutional instrument to guide the removal process.
Yes, that is true, because Article 146 has its own inherent problems.
Do I have Austin Bracco Powers on the line, just so we can conclude this chapter? Yes, good to have you. I was asking the question of the remedies. Council has spoken to us about the abridgment of time, but perhaps what I want to find out from you is whether or not you also agree with him that despite these developments in the case, and yes, she has the opportunity to file for an abridgment of time so that the courts can hear her application and try to see whether or not the hand of Parliament will be stayed. There are those who make the argument that, look, with how all of these things are going, perhaps it's best if all of this was let go, because it does appear the House will want to proceed and vet the Chief Justice nominee.
Well, it's unfortunate, but like we said, Parliament will go ahead and vet Justice Baffoe-Bonnie. But like my learned brother just said, if she's minded, she has to go. She has to go back. I don't even think she has been communicated to regards to timeline or when the application will be heard. And if the communication had gone out, then she had to go back and get the period reduced, like he said, arrangement. It had to be a bit, so that at least it will be shocking for the case to be heard on time. By which time, at least the vetting may be done, but she could still go ahead, and if the court hears her out and they make the determination that the injunction must hold, it will stop Parliament from approving. The plenary from approving the recommendation of the committee or the appointment committee. So, but it all depends on if the time the court will hear the thing. But this is what the case. But this is what I believe. I think this is almost like a bottomless pit. It's a bottomless pit, and it will be difficult for. I don't see how the system will move, faster enough for the removed Chief Justice, particularly the results of issues affecting the appointment of Justice Baffoe-Bonnie. But be that as it may, I think she should continue fighting. It is worth fighting, because I've maintained that whatever she is doing, sometimes you may not be the beneficiary, but you are setting down a precedent which will guide future generations. So sometimes you don't just cower in the face of opposition or injustice, or in the face of what some people will say intractable or insurmountable problems. You must keep fighting. Maybe she's fighting for the future. And I think legally lawyers may know what to do. But as the position of the law is currently, Parliament must go ahead and get the Chief Justice nominee. And if the court does not make a determination on the judge application, then that will be it. He will become Justice Baffoe-Bonnie will end up being approved by the plenary to become the next Chief Justice of the country. And we'll still see what happens. Marina.
Right. I'll just speak final thoughts, and we're moving away from this on a subject matter which is stoking quite the constitutional debate as to when a bill is passed in Parliament and it is deemed to have been passed and is supposed to be transmitted to the presidency, and that transmission is happening, and in the midst of that transmission, the life of that parliament dies, whether or not that process is expected to be kick-started again. That's a conversation which is coming up quite strongly on the subject matter of the anti-LGBTQ plus bill. We're not going into the merits of the bill and whether or not it should be passed, but these are subject matters which, to some, should be headed towards the Supreme Court for an interpretation as to whether or not all of it is supposed to start off again. Let me start off with you briefly on that, and then we can wrap up for this morning, Mr. Bracco Powers. Where do you stand on it? That it must start all over again, or it is deemed to have been passed as per the Constitution, and so the only thing that must happen is that it should be taken back to the presidency for possible assent?
But I've heard some individuals, including elements from the opposition patriotic party, make that argument forcefully that because the parliament that passed that bill is no longer there, and the president couldn't assent to say the bill had died prematurely. And I was cringing to find the position where on which position of the law are they making that proposition? Because we know government is a continuum. Government is a continuous business. If there's a bill that has been legitimately, the word should be whether if the bill had been properly and legitimately passed. If the bill had been properly and legitimately passed by the previous parliament, I see no basis and no reason why the bill must be re-engineered or it must be reworked on so that the president will assent to same. Like I said, the reason why we are here is because Parliament slept. The minute the Supreme Court disposed of those cases, or even the minute the president did not assent to same within 14 days, Parliament was supposed to be at work. Because the position of the law is clear, that if the president is unable to assent to same and must communicate same to Parliament within 14 days, what happens if the president does not communicate to Parliament within the 14 days? Does it mean Parliament will have to fold its hands and wait until the president assents to same? There are constitutional timelines. The position of the law says, when you read Article 106 down, it gives the position. When when after 14 days you have not heard from the president, you must go to work. Parliament slept, and now the same Parliament wants us to allow them to re-engineer the bill. No, that will amount to waste of government resources. We are wasting with government resources and human material. Why do we start the whole bill again? Take the bill, dust it off, send it to the president, the current president, let him attend to say. There's no need. There's no basis. Is it, Mauna, we must be able to inject some level of confidence. Ghanaians must be able to confidently believe in our legislative process. Where lies the confidence and predictability and the seriousness? If you spend resources to make a bill, and because the president did not assent to it, you are saying that bill has died actually, and you are going to restart the process. What kind of argument is that? It is not sound, and they have to stop that. Why you make that kind of argument? It's because why in the Constitution?
Right.
Why in the Constitution did the say that the moment the Parliament now passes a particular bill, ends the tenure, and the bill was not really assented to by the president, that bill has died prematurely. Where in the Constitution was that proposition of the law making? I think they should stop embarrassing and disgracing us.
Right.
Those making the law, those making those claims in Parliament, they should stop disgracing us. That is not the position of the law. The law is that government is a continuous business. And so, if we are to go by the argument, then there should be that the bills or the laws passed by the previous government died, the previous Parliament dies the minute that Parliament ends its tenure. All the laws we pass, it means that those laws should not function again in the country. If we are to sit with their argument, it's not a sound argument they should be making. Because it amounts to total disappointment to Ghanaians. I don't think we should subscribe to that argument, Mauna.
Right then, Council, I appreciate you joining us this morning. I just want to pick the final thoughts of Christian Hesse as well on this debate. Does it, whether or not it should be going to the Supreme Court, or it is as clear as day, as Austin Baffoe-Powers tells us?
Yes, I align myself with his position. You see, the reason, this is how I see it. Once, it starts from the floor and it goes through various stages. The first reading, second reading, it goes to committee, comes back, amendments here and there until finally it is passed, and then the final constitutional hurdle stops with the president to assent for it to become law. If indeed Parliament is of the opinion that the bill that it passed, there is no reason for it, or it has inherent flaws, Parliament, by its own rules, can deal with it, whether to set aside by way of repeal or revoke it entirely. Parliament, by its own rules, can deal with this particular bill passed, and for which they could come up, like I said, they could come up with some amendments to it or whatever. But if the same bill that had been passed is being reintroduced to Parliament to go through the whole process, then that is problematic, because it is needless, waste of time, and is it going to go through the process that they had already been through? I don't see the constitutional law reason in it.
Right.
And I believe that the president should be encouraged by his legal handlers to assent it or whatever. If it's not interested to also sign to, he should let Ghanaians know. But to go through that same constitutional process is interesting.
I appreciate you both joining us this morning on the 3FM Sunrise Big Conversation. That's Christian Hesse speaking to us, as well as Austin Baffoe-Powers, both private legal practitioners in their respective rights, helping us understand and appreciate what it is that is expected from Parliament, that debate. They both believe the bill as it was has been passed, and so all it can do is go to the presidency for a possible assent.